Hey guys, and good morning. This is Josh from Solopreneur Grind, SG Daily number 9. And if you saw me in the thumbnail, I was fake holding up my mug because my coffee is not ready yet for this daily, and I'm in a rush after the daily. So we're going to skip the coffee for now. Anyways, things are going well. Busy day. I don't know about you guys. For me, Friday morning is always busy because clients are worried about their own stuff on Monday, Tuesday. They hit me up on Wednesday, Thursday, and clients are always wanting stuff in a timely manner, and I always want to meet expectations in a timely manner. So Friday usually ends up being a little bit busy, but that's okay. And got me thinking about the old discussion of urgency versus importance. And because I talked yesterday about scheduling and to-do lists, I wanted to talk about a little bit more of that today. And what urgency versus importance kind of entails is when you're thinking about your to-do list and what you should do and in what order, you want to think about whether it's urgent or important or both. Ideally, you want to do the tasks first that are important and urgent, and then you kind of go down the scale from there. So for example, if a client sends you an email, they need an answer fairly quickly, that would be urgent because they want an answer fairly quickly. That more has to do with speed. But is it important? So do they need that information as fast as they think they do, or will it really have that much effect if they don't have it right away? Versus, so let's say at the same time you get an email from a client, hey, I really want to know this answer quickly, but in the back of your mind, you know that it's not super important, it's urgent, but maybe they work within your company or they're a client you've known for a while and you know that they don't actually need it right now. I could do it in an hour. Versus a task that takes 45 minutes that is super important and somewhat urgent. And so you weigh that, you compare the two, right? Which one should I do first? Because as an entrepreneur, really anything you do in a day as an entrepreneur, you're saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to put off that, and that. Usually more than just 3 things you're putting off. But in any given moment, you can be doing anything. So I think as an entrepreneur, especially a solopreneur, it's even more important to figure out what to do and in what order. And so urgency versus importance is very important. But what I've been thinking of a little bit in the last few months as I continue to operate my small practice is I think there's another element, urgency versus importance versus, I haven't given it a name yet, but it has to do with kind of mental satisfaction or mental peace. And what I mean by that is, if we go back to my example, you have the email that's urgent, but it's not super important. And then you have a task, a 45-minute task that is important and somewhat urgent. So in most cases, I would say, well, you do the task first. It's more important. It is a little bit urgent, and the client doesn't need the email back right away. But this is where my third factor comes into play, kind of that mental piece, which is if I don't answer the client right away, is it going to bug me and affect my performance on doing the other task first? And then another question is, will that piece that I will be afforded by answering that email first be worth it? So that's kind of two, I jammed a lot into those 2 questions. But you have an email. It would be a relatively quick answer. It's urgent, but it's not super important. You have a 45-minute task that's very important. Because the email doesn't take too long, would you actually gain more mental peace by writing the email first, even though it's not as important, sending it off, and then being able to go, I don't have that urgent task hanging over my head so that I can do this 45-minute task? So that's something I've been playing around with, and the reason why is because I get a lot of emails that are usually pretty urgent, but not super important. And as someone who keeps the email tab open a lot, which is probably problem number 1, I've been kind of weighing against, well, is it worth taking 2 minutes to answer the email, even though it's not important, but it will give me some peace of mind? Now, one potential problem that you might say to that is, well, Josh, what if you reply to the urgent email and then they just respond again? And they keep asking urgent things because they know you're going to respond quickly. That's another factor that I'm thinking about, but that will have to be for another episode. So anyways, those are my thoughts on urgent versus importance versus mental clarity while working and mental peace while working. If you have any thoughts, feel free to comment, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and like the video if you're watching on YouTube. On the podcast, hopefully you like this the audio version. Subscribe as well. And I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.